Donald Trump has hailed his great relationship with the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, who stands accused of acting with impunity over a brutal war on drugs that has left thousands dead. The U.S. president made no mention of human rights during brief remarks to reporters prior to a meeting with his Philippine counterpart, and both leaders ignored shouted questions about the drug crackdown. Trump is in the Philippines with leaders of 18 other nations for 2 days of summits on the final leg of a headline-grabbing tour of Asia dominated by the North Korean nuclear crisis. According to a spokesman for Duterte, human rights issues weren't raised during the meeting, although the pair did discuss their mutual distaste for Barack Obama. The issue of human rights did not arise. It was not brought up, Harry Roque said of a 40-minute conversation in Manila. It was President Duterte who brought up with President Trump the drug menace in the Philippines, and the U.S. president appeared sympathetic and did not have any official position on the matter but was merely nodding his head, he said, adding he was present. Later, the White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the matter of human rights came up briefly, although she did not say which president raised the issue. Prior to their meeting, Trump said he and Duterte had a great relationship. The two men also shared a laugh in the meeting when Duterte called reporters spies. Roque described the meeting as warm and friendly, adding it's very apparent that both of them have a person who they consider as not their best friend. They have similar feelings towards former U.S. President Barack Obama. The absence of a proper discussion about rights is sure to anger critics of Duterte, who is accused of leading a blood-soaked drugs crackdown. Rights groups and U.S. politicians had strongly urged Trump to confront Duterte on the subject. Duterte, a former prosecutor, has taken an indignant stance to criticism, warning the Catholic Church "don't fuck with me" and accusing the UN of issuing shitting statements about his policies. On Friday, he boasted that he once stabbed a person to death in his latest apparent admission of murder, adding to a list of similar public statements, including a claim that he pushed a man out of a helicopter. At the age of 16, I already killed someone, Duterte said during a speech in Vietnam, where he briefly crossed paths with Trump on the sidelines of another international summit. Relations between the United States and its former colony, allies since the Second World War, were at a low during Obama's tenure. Duterte has since pushed for better ties with Russia and China. Trump has generally avoided publicly admonishing foreign leaders for rights abuses and has even shown an affinity for rulers with autocratic tendencies, including Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Philippine government officials estimate more than 3,000 people have died in the anti-narcotics drive. Human rights groups believe the death toll of mostly alleged drug users and suspected dealers is far higher. At the two leaders met, hundreds of left-wing protesters clashed in central Manila with riot police, who used water cannons to disperse the crowds. Protesters burned an effigy of U.S. President Donald Trump at a march in Manila. Photographed LGBT images. The demonstrators chanted against the drugs war as well as other issues such as Trump's bellicose rhetoric on North Korea. They burnt an effigy of the U.S. president that showed the billionaire developer with forearms, all bent into the shape of a swastika. Duterte has regularly been described as the Donald Trump of Asia for his mercurial temperament and anti-establishment populist support. At a lavish gala dinner on Sunday evening, the 72-year-old leader sang a hit Filipino love, explaining after that it was on the orders of Trump. One of the verses begins, "You are the light in my world, a half of this heart of mine." Trump had previously praised Duterte's bloody crackdown, saying he was doing an unbelievable job on the drug problem, and continued on Monday to rain compliments on the president. "Rodrigo, I would like to commend you on your success as ASEAN chair at this critical moment of time," he said at a press conference. "The show last night was fantastic. And you were fantastic." The Duterte meeting came as the U.S. president wound down his 12-day Asia tour. On Monday, Trump also met the Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, with whom he had a contentious phone call last winter, and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who hosted the president in Tokyo earlier in the trip. Trump raved about his accomplishments on his five-nation journey, including on trade and North Korea, but said he would wait until his return to Washington on Wednesday to elaborate with a major statement.